So this feeling of numbness I've experienced a lot in my life, and I, as my one of my primary codes, I know I'm going to continue to be met with it in different ways. As the first gene key is, it's called the creative in the I Ching. And so anyone who's connecting to this code, the creative, the fire, the pure yang, that which emerges from the womb, from the feminine, and it's here to create and do the things. The creative process is gonna require cycles. The creative process requires cycles. The creative process is part of nature. And so being in that spark, being in the freshness, the gift, when our fire feels lit from within and we feel we can share that fire with others, that's freshness. That's that creative fire that you just feel from someone sharing, or from someone offering something, or from someone just speaking and yeah, sharing their story. It's the inner fire, the passion, the heart that's lit up, and then it's shared. And when it's not there, as all creativity, it needs times of rest, it needs times of pauses, when it completes itself, it needs time to recover in a way. It's totally natural that fire is not going to be lit all the time. It's not. Sometimes the fire is going to burn out. And when it burns out, it's when we are in the entropy, or when it starts to kind of burn out and we want to start it again, and it's like it's not working, and whatever we're doing, it's not working, and it's like, okay, let me just surrender to the fact that there's no fire right now. And this is the real test. I mean, real test. This is like the moment of really observing ourselves when our inner fire dies out, when the passion is not there anymore, when the aliveness is not there anymore, when what we want to create is not really coming through in a true and authentic way without us like pushing for it to come through. When that's not there, what do we do? What do we do? Do we force the creative process? Do we make ourselves do it? Do we put a time frame and say, this is what you're going to produce in this amount of hours? Do we distract ourselves by scrolling or going and doing something that we know is not of our highest good? Do we go to sleep and kind of avoid what we're feeling? What do we do? And if you pay attention, whether you're distracting yourself by numbing, suppressing, anything that you're trying to do to get you out of the state of this feeling of loss of energy, is being in the shadow of entropy. It's numbing ourselves. It's not allowing ourselves to feel that emptiness, that feeling of the fire is not here. It's not warming me up from within. It's allowing ourselves to kind of, rest in that pause of no creativity, of no creative force. And of course, we're going to say, well, we're always creating and we're part of life, and life is always in motion and moving. Yes. And our human experience is also showing that we cannot be constantly on the go producing originality, freshness, just constantly. No, we need breaks in our life. We need pauses, just like nature, just like the cycles. And that's what the Gene Key teaches us. That's what the I Ching teaches us. How to be in right relationship with the natural laws that exist within us, within the human being, and within life. And within culture, and within the cosmos. It's all of life. And so for me, freshness, it's this feeling of rekindling my inner fire. It's when I allow the numbness to be felt, when I allow the numbness to actually be felt. Richard Root talks about how in today's world we often don't give children the opportunity to be bored. You know, like they're like, oh, I'm bored. And usually whoever's the caregiver, caretaker, parents, or someone else, usually we want them to be happy and to do something and to be engaged. And Richard Root is saying how that feeling of boredom is a really important feeling for a child, also for our inner child. That space where there is no desire to do anything, just like there's like this emptiness. And usually we associate this emptiness with it's not good, that we have to find something to do, and that's the fertile soil of which all creativity emerges. That emptiness, that it's that space of the pause, that the music can be heard. We cannot hear the music if there's no pauses. We cannot hear the music of life and our inner music if there's no pauses. We cannot hear what new creations want to be birthed. And so if the first Shinki were to share something about the shadow, it's to really allow ourselves as creatives to rest in those moments when we don't feel inspired, when we don't feel the creative fire wanting to give and to pass on the torch, when we feel this time of going maybe more inward and just being present with whatever is arising. Maybe it's sadness, maybe it's grief, maybe it's something that's asking for our attention, so that it's witnessed, acknowledged, embraced, and then something new can arise from that. When we turn the soil around, when we give our presence to what is, just like we want to rekindle a fire, we have to give presence to what is in front of us before jumping into what we think we want or what society says we should be doing. And yeah, to really, Richard Wood says, let the numbness in, let it be your vipassana meditation. And see what arises when there is no push and pull, when there's no resistance, when there's no need to make it different than what it is. See what arises from that. And it's probably going to be light. It's probably going to be something new. It's probably going to be a spark of creativity, because when we're no longer pushing and resisting life to complete its cycles, the new life is born, new cycles emerge, new creativity emerges. And this is the gift of freshness. It's to be original. It's to, as Richard Root says, it's to be unafraid of making mistakes. It's to be unafraid of making mistakes. And I having this as one of my primary codes, I cannot tell you how afraid I've been and am still. I'm learning, and I'm still, I know deep within my heart that there is no mistakes. I know that there's no mistakes. We're all learning here. We're all doing our best based on the tools, the conditioning, the passed down trauma, based on our unique life coding. We're all doing our best. And a lot of people are like, well, people should know better. It's like, well, if they know better, truly know, like a true inner gnosis, not knowing from here, but true knowing, then people do better. So everyone, I really believe that everyone is doing what they can do in this moment in time, what they can tap into, what they can connect to. Most likely, if we see a different path, a path that is of, like, we can actually connect to the beauty that is available, and to the love that is available, and to the to the truth that exists within us, then my experience, I'm going to speak from personal experience, my experience is that I choose that. I always choose that which feels better for me. If I'm fully not only aware of it, but also equipped to say yes to that. Because sometimes I know through here that something's better for me, you know, it could be food, it could be a practice, it could be anything. But if I'm not connected to do the truth of that, to the depth of that, if I'm not, if I haven't processed maybe an emotional trauma, if there's something in the way for me to fully see the truth of my experience, then yeah, most likely than not, I am in my shadow, as is most of society, as is most of this world. And so reading any of the shadows, any of the 64 shadows, you can see how they're really different expressions of our human shadows, different expressions of the divine, when we are not allowing the seed to flower into its fullest expression. When it's just the seed in the soil, but we're not really tending to the garden, we're not really tending to the soil, we're kind of like putting it, their seeds, there's a lot of potentials, but a lot of times we don't even know that they're there. We don't even know that they're there, let alone to have the tools, let alone to all the things to really allow the fruit of that seed to be received. And so the shadows are really here for us to bring awareness to them and to utilize them, to utilize the seed, to utilize the fuel of the shadow. So entropy, it's like, what fuel does entropy have? Well, it has a purpose, you know. If it's there, it has its purpose. If it's here, it has a purpose. So if you're feeling numbness, if you're feeling a loss of energy, if you're not feeling inspired in your life whatsoever, if you're feeling a sense of distraction because you don't want to feel what you're really feeling, and keeping yourself busy working or producing or whatever it is that you're doing to keep yourself busy from really connecting to that feeling within you, if this is happening in your life right now, what would happen if you pause and just let yourself feel that, whatever that is. Let yourself connect to your feeling. Lucky agrees with me. Let yourself take a few breaths. You can place your heart. You can place your hand on your heart and on your womb. And even if you're listening to this right now, you can pause and connect to your body. Allow yourself to take a breath. And see if you can connect to how you are feeling right now within your body. What are you feeling? And if you cannot connect to a feeling, if you feel, sometimes I do this and there's layers in front of my heart that I'm noticing that are kind of protecting me to go deeper into the feeling. Just acknowledging if you're not feeling anything, or if you're not aware of what you're feeling, just bringing awareness to that. And that's really the stepping stone of transformation. It's awareness. It's our breath. Awareness is the breath of consciousness. And as we learn to create more pauses within our day, I don't know how long I've been going, and this has been recording. And as we create more pauses within our day to really connect to that feeling of our shadows. Right now, moving through the first gene key, being entropy, being that loss of energy, that numbness, to connect to that instead of running away from it. To connect to it instead of running away from it. To feel it, to let it in. It's here as it's carrying its own medicine, its own unique flavor and code for us to release something new, for us to tap into our creativity. And the creative process is that element of fire. Hence, it's the first gene key. It's in the ring of fire together with the 14 gene key. And it's the prime yin. All the hexagrams, all 6 hexagrams are yang lines, masculine energy. And as we allow ourselves to feel the numbness without interfering, without making it wrong or not good or whatever, or distracting ourselves, and we allow the freshness to emerge from that space, then we're in the gift. Then we are rekindling our fire. And naturally we want to share that fire. Naturally that fire is contagious. Naturally when we have a fire, even going back to tribal times and current times in many places, it's often, there's fire and people are gathering around the fire. As the fire is that, it's that element that represents so many things. I mean, it represents light, it represents transformation as it's moving, it's changing. It represents warmth, passion. It represents that penetrative force that allows us to see through this world, to see through this physical existence that we are part of, and beyond, depending on how deep we can connect to this element of fire, as it's one of the primary elements of life. And in the Gene Keys, this gift is about connecting to our inner fire, connecting to that freshness, connecting to that creator within us. And if you have this Gene Key in your sequence, specifically in your primary sequence, most likely you're one of humanity's pioneers, that is treading a new path, a new way of seeing things, a new way of showing things, a new way of there's something fresh about your way of being, a code, a gift that you have that is here to show a new way, to pave a new path. And any one of us that's within our gifts, we're at the front lines of creation, meaning we are moving through life through the heart. It's the heart mind. First it's here and then it's here. And so the gift is that. It's that quality anytime I am in the, and I often, I'm so, my life, when I'm in this quality of freshness, I feel like there's this spring within me. There's this spring, and the flowers are blossoming, and I'm like, oh my God, there's all these flowers, and I want to share them, and I want to beautify this place, I want to do this, I want to do that. And there's this spring, and there's this fire of creativity, and the ways I'm seeing the world and the ways I'm able to understand things when my fire is lit, it's like it's in a whole other level. It's as if I am now alive. And when I'm in entropy, I feel pretty dead within. It's like this, yeah. It feels well, this is the interesting thing. When I allow the death, when I surrender to the death, it actually can be quite pleasant. When I'm not attaching to that, when I'm not attaching that I am that and I am whatever, giving myself a prescription, what's happening, when I'm just allowing myself to feel without interference, it could be quite pleasurable. As the, I was about to go into pleasure and pain and the thin thread between the two, and the Siddhi, the highest aspiration is beauty. And when we come to the Siddhis, anytime I listen to Richard Rudd sharing the Gene Keys on audio, the audio contemplations, which I love so much, for anyone who is listening to them every 6 days. We're moving through a different Gene Key, just like we're moving through one right now, and they're available to listen to tap into during that time frame. Highly recommend. Filled with so much goodness and codes and so much remembrance. Whenever I listen or read or connect to that frequency, I am recognizing that it's the thread that connects us to all of life. It's almost any city, any highest aspiration that we activate within our being, whether that's presence, whether that's unity, whether that's beauty, whether that's universal love, any of these qualities of consciousness that we activate fully within our body, they're doorways to all of the cities. One city is a doorway that connects any one of us to all the other cities, because they exist in the same realm. That is the realm of our truth, of our purity, of our love, of our deepest love. It's now the seed of consciousness. It's not the seed that we have forgotten about and denied and shamed and blamed. It's now the seed that we find in the shadow. Now the seed is the seed of consciousness. And when that seed spreads within our being, within our body, within our mind, within our heart, it's the fluorescence. This is one of my cities of my mind. It's in my IQ, which I'll share in another video what that means, the sphere of IQ. It's like a flowering that happens, and it's called the eternal spring, this specific Gene Key, the 15th. And this is what I feel with any one of these cities, with beauty. When I am truly in beauty, And the Siddhis, I want to mention that, you know, it's not something that we can get to. It's not a prescription of here's the how-to book. It's not there's no technique that you can do that gets you to that space. Yes, there's you know, there's yoga, there's all of these ancient practices that help us to come into union within ourselves, that then can, so that our body can be a vessel to allow for these frequencies. Yes, that is true. Yes, there's many tools. Yes, there's many practices that can help us. Yet the Siddhic states are the byproduct of our being. They're the byproduct of our garden, of the garden that we've been tending to. And so the fruit falls from the tree when it falls from the tree. It falls from the tree when it falls from the tree. There's no it depends on your tree, it depends on the fruit, depends on the season, depends on how you've been tending to it. It depends on so many things that when it happens, it happens. And when it happens, you're in it. So it's, you know, when you're present, it's not like, oh, I'm so present right now. You're in presence. You're one with what is. I am one with what is. And so these are the states that they're the highest aspiration of who we are here as human beings, who we came here to be. They're the flowering of our consciousness, or the awakening of our consciousness. They're the different styles of how we, as a unique body vessel, desires to flower, to awaken in this dream. They're the specific codes that it's like, okay, as I am embodying more and more my gifts, as I'm sharing more and more my gifts, as I'm becoming aware of my shadows, then the Siddhi, Siddhi, the Siddhi frequency, not Siddhi as Chicago City, but Siddhi as divine gift, then the Siddhi is the byproduct of the gift. The Siddhi is when we completely surrender and we're no longer identified with I am this and I am that. Now we're a channel of grace, a channel of God, a channel of the divinity that is interconnected with all of life. And how that channel moves through the Gene Keys gives you this flavor, it gives you this frequency, the note of your specific blueprint. And so my evolution, what helps me here to evolve is being in freshness, and which helps me to be in my gift of my life's work, which is orientation. It's when the masculine and the feminine come into balance. So orientation, I'm centered within myself. I know I can connect to my center. I'm feeling one within myself. I'm feeling this unity within, and I'm connecting to freshness, to this from this center, from the home within me. I get to create, I get to birth, I get to share, I get to keep tending to my fire. From the center, from the feminine, from the mother energy, feeling safe, I get to express and be in the freedom of creation. So this is, and then what is created? Well, beauty. Beauty is created. Beauty is the Siddhi. And in its beauty is that it's the quality of our consciousness. It's how we see the world. It's how we see ourselves when we have the veil lifted, the veil of conditioning, programming. And then we're in unity. As unity and beauty, they are a couplet. And when we're in one, we're in the other. And this is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, sending you so much love from my womb and my heart to you. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration, on this contemplation. If anything resonated with you, if anything sparked something with you, and if you feel called to share, please do. You can send me a message or share in the comments. I'm sending you so much love.